title of my portion of the presentation is Why Work? I am a non-motivational speaker. Motivational speakers like to get people fired up about work, and I prefer to address the question of why show up in the first place. Now, before I get started with my part of the presentation, I want to give you a little background on some of the research that I've done on other types of professional speakers. And I studied 3 other types of professional speakers. I just want to show you a little background on the research that I did. The first one that I looked at is the pattern for a motivational speaker, which I am not. If you go see a motivational speaker, this is what you'll see. And what I plotted here is how loud they are over time. In the beginning, they start out kind of quiet in the beginning here. And then they start build up, they start getting louder and louder, real frothy, and they're right in the audience kind of spitting at everybody. But then they look at their watch and they realize it's time to back off, and they get quiet again. They get real quiet and they have a serious part where they talk about like their struggle with credit card debt. Something we can all relate to. Then they get going louder and louder before a big frothy ending, and then they end and they sell a bunch of useless tapes and books and get everybody's money and they get out of there. The second one I looked at was the pattern for a TV preacher. These are very successful professional speakers, and I thought they were worthy of taking a look at, so I watched them on TV. And this is what I plotted how loud they are over time. You can see it's a very simple, regular pattern. The TV preachers, they start out at the beginning quietly talking about the devil. Then they quickly ramp up within minutes, about 3 minutes, they ramp up to screaming about the devil. But then they back off, they're talking about the devil, and they're screaming about the devil. They're talking, screaming, talk, scream, the devil, the devil, the devil, the devil. Big devil scream thing at the end. This is where a lot of old TV preachers die. And then they get everybody's money and they get out of there. The third one that I looked at is the pattern for corporate training. This is the 1 day off premises at the Holiday Inn. Learn how to become more organized. Learn how to deal with difficult people. Learn how to deal with people when you are difficult. What I plotted here a little differently for the corporate training is I plotted the audience interest level over time. What you see in the morning, there is a positive blip of interest first thing in the morning, and that is because there is introduction and donuts are available. Then we go to this plateau here for part 1 of the material. The interest level in this plateau is just above being unconscious. And there is a spike of interest for the morning break because there are cookies and soda. Back to the plateau for part 2 of the material. And predictably, there is a huge spike of interest for lunch. But now, after lunch, of course, we go back to the plateau, but shortly after lunch, a very interesting thing happens. The interest level goes sharply negative after lunch. This is because everybody realizes that they have to break up into groups and brainstorm. Nobody likes to break up into groups and brainstorm. It would be very difficult to do that here this evening anyway. Now, what I'm going to do for you folks this evening with the very limited time that I have available, I'm not going to be doing one of these patterns. What I'm going to actually do is combine them. So I will actually be doing this with the limited time that I have. Basically, there will be a beginning and then a massive confusion. Now, when I talked to professional speakers about what I was doing, they told me in order to make my story truly compelling, what I needed to do was to talk about how I obtained some goal in face of some nasty obstacle. So what I need to do is get up in front of people and talk about this schematically. There's me